Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Speaking Into the Abyss with me and Jess.
Me.
Her. Yeah, so how are you, Jess?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. I just came from India Kebab.
Nice.
One of the best Indian spots here.
Yeah, I was gonna say you look really cute.
What? Thank you. I literally didn't do anything, so I really appreciate that.
I mean, you don't ever need to do anything to look cute.
Stop.
So.
You're gonna make me blush.
Good.
But yeah, which is funny because I was literally like messing with the idea back and forth because you asked me the other night if I wanted my hair cut.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, because I've been trying to grow out my hair.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he asked me, I was like, do I? And so like now I'm like back and forth, and I told my partner, me and you joked about like if any of us have dreams last night about my hair. So I told him no, but he said that I was mumbling something.
You're like, yes.
I was like, it was
lots of layers.
I said, did you hear long or short? And he was like, no, I didn't hear anything. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, you just seemed really upset. And I was like, oh, I wonder what I was
didn't cut
of.
it. No,
yeah, I was like, I wonder what I was thinking of. But it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's just like, it's nice to know. Maybe I'll just keep growing my hair then.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. If I look cute now.
Yeah. I mean, you always look cute. Short, long.
Stop. I'm going to I want to cut off all my hair.
I mean, we
but
definitely
I don't.
can. I mean,
but I do.
I feel like your hair grows pretty fast.
Yeah.
And actually, my mom was like, because I went to cut my brother's hair last night. And like when she was there, she's like, my hair has gotten so long since the last time you cut it. She's like, I think you have la mano caliente. And I was like, oh thanks.
Nice.
And then my brother's like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah. She's like, you haven't heard that, like, if they have a good hand, like, your hair will grow faster.
Better, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, thanks. I was like, it is long. I was like, nice. Maybe I do have the hand.
Well, then maybe I should let you cut it, and then it'll grow fast anyway, and it won't matter. But I was thinking, at least maybe thinning it.
Yeah. Taking out some
a little
bulk.
heavy. Yeah. So yeah, that'd be cool. So what have you been up to today?
Today, just worked.
How was that? Any good tips? Clients?
Yeah. Our co-worker, mutual friend came in and did a color over them. Lovely tip.
Nice.
Lovely time. Brought me a little drink and breakfast, which was nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, and I think that was pretty much it. And then they did, my manager and two of the girls did like an Olaplex demo treatment on me. So that's why my hair is looking so shiny. And
healthy, beautiful.
Yeah,
but I will say, not to cut you off, but I do think that your hair does look really good all the time. I think you take care of your hair.
I do, you know.
So
that's why I like want to do people's hair. They're like, I don't want it to be damaged. I'm like, dude, literally look at my hair. I'm like, it doesn't have to be. I was like, I don't know who's doing your hair and why they don't care for it.
Yeah, it's them. It's them doing it to themselves.
But and then after work, I messaged you because we have some plans today, and because you were out eating, I just kind of took a little nap, which was nice. I put like a 20-minute and then like woke up like 2 minutes before the alarm, and then you had texted back, and then I texted our other friend, and then I was like, okay, and then I like took another 20 minutes, and it was good though. It was like perfect. I was worried I was gonna get super sleepy.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but no, and then I was like,
that is
and now you're here.
What, a power nap?
Power nap. A double power.
Dang, you're overpowered now. You guys can't see this, but she's floating in the air.
Holy moly. I was like, you look really short today.
That's so funny. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, did you do anything else today?
Oh, I went to get a bunch of plants because I have a planter box thing.
Yeah, what kind of plants did you get?
Well, I have 2 roses already in there, and then I got a hanging pot plant with a bunch of cute little flowers. I can't wait for you to see it. So cute. And then I got some, because I have ones for my fence, like little pot holder thingies, and I got some succulents for those.
Cute.
So that I don't overwater them with my flowers. And then I don't know what they're called. God, I suck at flower names, but I don't know what they're called, but they're kind of like thick stalks, and then it opens up as like a really pretty flower, and just like, so I got 2 of those. Maybe I'll show you a picture and then you can upload it or something. Yeah. So I got some of those, and I got some tools for my dirt so I can clean it and stuff.
Okay,
and
cool.
Make it look nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited to put them in there and just like, well, because I love colors. Like we were talking about favorite colors the last time. I was like, I just love colors, and the little hanging plant has multiple flower colors.
Cute,
now I have like red and yellow roses, and then I have these colors. Like, it's just, I'm so excited to have such a bright yard. You know?
Yeah.
So that's what I think. That's it. Other than Bob, and obviously I was with my partner, and then I was with his mother. She came to spend some time with us. That's who we were eating
really
with.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. I enjoy spending time with his family. They're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother recently messaged me and was like, or he messaged me today and was like, I have a question. And that's it. And I was like, okay, yeah. Like, what's the question? He's like, it's about a debit card.
Okay.
Again, that's it. That's all he said.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, do you know what the question is?
Yeah.
And he was like, he basically was just asking me for advice if he should use checks or not.
Okay. For what?
For paying for things.
He's like, at Spencer's. He's like,
let me write you a check. And
yeah.
I was telling you, I was like, it's a little more difficult nowadays to use checks to buy things because they're so easy to make a check that'll bounce that like people don't really accept them. And I was like, so I don't think that's your best bet.
Yeah,
I was like, but also
maybe just use the debit card.
Yeah, I was like, but also I don't use checks at all. So and I don't know if there's a benefit in using them because I've never used them.
I guess the only benefit would be like able to see what you spent your
checkbook
if you actually like balance it and stuff.
Yeah.
But I do like digital check balancing, and I do have like when I open my bank account, they give you like those thin little checks, and I was like can't wait to use these all so I can get cute ones, but I never use them. I still have like 2 or 3 of them, and I'm like waiting to use them all.
Do you remember the ads for checks? Like you get cute photo checks, like puppies and Minnie Mouse and stuff. Yeah. I remember being a kid and thinking I'm gonna use so many checks when I'm an adult.
Yeah.
And now I can't even.
My mom's definitely had like Disney checks before.
That's cute. Stuff. I love the photo ones. I like the ones where people have like their own kids on them and stuff. I'm like, that's cool. Like, just upload your own photo. It's like your debit card nowadays.
Yeah.
Upload whatever you want.
Which is crazy because I don't know. So I have a Wells Fargo and a Chase Bank, and on my Chase one, I can't customize the debit card.
But on Wells Fargo, you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. And then so I don't know. That was just pretty much it. There's nothing really about that. I just was like, I just thought it was so funny that the way he asked me, instead of just asking me when he sent the message, he said he had a question. Then he told me what it was about, and then he asked me the question.
He was just like, I don't want to bother you in case you don't want to hear it. So like, if you would have replied no, he would have been like, okay, sorry.
And that would have been so dumb. Oh my god, that would have been an asshole move of me if I was like, no, you can't ask me a question.
Yeah.
But that's wild. Do any of our listeners use Trekkies, you think?
I don't know.
Let us know if you do.
Yeah, we have a good age range, so maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
And let me know if we're missing a different benefit of having checks. That'd be cool to know too. Otherwise, I'm going to continue thinking that checks are kind of going obsolete.
The only time I ever really use them anymore is like when I get a job and they like want a voided check.
Oh, sure.
But like even now they're not asking for voided checks anymore. They like let you do it without it. Just put in your info. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, eye drops, VISINE. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of those like stories where people put it in people's coffee and then they get the runs, or they have to pee really bad all the time?
I've heard of that happening. I've never heard any of the actual stories though.
Sure. So it can vary from like you have to pee, like it's a diuretic almost, like it just like flushes your system, to like really bad stomach cramps. Like if you use a whole bottle of eye drops, like those little ones or whatever, into like somebody's stuff, like you can cause them to get like so sick and in pain that they need to go to the doctors. And there has been, I think, a case or two of people dying from ingesting eye drops.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just on TikTok and it was like part 2 of whatever. And so of course I didn't get the first part. But from what I understood, these cops were going to a house. I don't know if there was an argument there and that's why they were there to begin with, or if they just went there because they saw a video that people at a restaurant took of this man who was picking up sandwiches, took a sandwich out, a meatball sub, doused it in Visine, like the eye drops, like completely covered it in eye drops, put it back, wrapped it up, took it home. That's the house they were at. So they're talking to these people at the door, these adults, and then there's like a young man who like walks into frame, and he's like, "You come here," and he like is like, come over here." So they move away from everybody, and he tells him, "Did you eat a meatball sub?" And he's like, "I was trying to," and he was like, "Your uncle doused it in Visine in front of everybody at the restaurant, and is now giving it to you. How many bites did you take?" He said, "A couple." And he's like, "But I lost my appetite when everyone started fighting in the house." Oh. And so he was like, "Okay, well, I think you should get checked out by ambulance if you'd like. We got one for you." So they're going in there with this idea that he's literally been poisoned, right? Yeah. So he looks in shock. Like, when they told him his uncle did that, his, like, face, like, dropped, you know? And so he tells him, like, when you eat Visine, when you ingest it, like, these are the things that could happen to you. And he's like, so I think you should get checked out no matter how small of a bite you took. And the uncle gets arrested. Take a wild guess. Because I would assume this is attempted murder. Take a wild guess how much time he got.
A week.
Literally a little bit over. He got 10 days in jail and then got a fine.
That's crazy. What was like the charge? Did it say?
So it went from I don't know what it was, but it got dropped to like assault or something, or like maybe a small like thing. Yeah. But it was literally obviously not enough to hold him. And he only got a fine. So I don't know if the kid is living with them still, because apparently it was the grandma's house, and the uncle and the grandma, I guess, don't like the kid or something. And he's not like super young. He looks like 16, 18 years old. So anywhere from that age. And it was just so sad. Then they tell his mother in the video, they like, "Hey, we'll tell your mom." So then she comes on and they blur her face. Yeah. They don't blur the kid's face. They blur her face. Yeah. And they tell her, like, "Your brother is trying to poison your son." And she's like, and the cop says, "Your son didn't know that he was eating, poison sandwich or whatever." And she's like, "Well, I didn't know either. Nobody here knew." And I just thought that was a weird thing to say, but nobody else, like, in the comments said anything. The mother was in charge of the thing. But I would have been fucking furious.
Yeah, you just think that she was, like, too calm.
Too calm. And, like, the reaction was just not it. Like, not the reaction to be like, "You're trying to kill my son?" Like, something, you know?
Think she has an insurance
policy? I don't know. But I definitely, if I was that kid, like, he's going to need to go to therapy, because even though nobody, like, I mean, he did eat it. Like, you're going to have so much mistrust. Yeah. I would have a lot of mistrust. Like, I already have issues with trust, but, like, imagine finding out, like, you're just eating your sandwich and it was poisoned by a family member. Yeah. You can't even trust your own family. Like, that is so... When I saw that video, I felt so bad for the kid, dude. And I have no idea where he's at now. But I just hope he's okay. Also, just a warning, if you get Visine in your mouth while applying eye drops, they do tell you to call the poison control.
That's so funny. I'm, like, just thinking of how that happened. Like, you're like how you do the mascara with your eyes open. You're like...
Yeah, exactly.
Just, like, miss terribly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Besides that, do you want to go into gratitude corner?
Sure. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
Whatever's clever. Okay, if you have some, okay. You looked like you were ready to start, like, spitting into the mic, so I was like, go ahead. Grateful for the sun.
Oh, yeah, that was on my list, too.
Oh, sorry.
No, we're both grateful for the sun, but yeah.
The sun, yeah. My family. Mm-hmm. My mom specifically. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just been vibing with my mom a lot.
That's good.
Oh, and then I told you, but obviously the pod doesn't know, but I saw, like, a baby picture of her and, like, almost cried. She's so precious. She's so little. And I was like, it's crazy how you never really see your parents as a child, as a baby, like, see too many pictures of that. And then I think about, like, how like everything is super digitized, but, like, if your stuff gets wiped or
lost,
you lose
somehow.
your phone or whatever, and, like,
it's not
backed up, then it is gone forever.
It is gone forever. That's why I do like physical media too. I love CDs and I love DVDs and I love photos, dude. Like, the amount of little Polaroids I have
Yeah.
that I want to put in like an album or something.
Yeah.
I need to do that because
you should.
you're right.
They have really cute Polaroid albums.
They
and
do.
Stuff, yeah.
I also want to get more film so I can start doing that more often.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I think that it's like, and also I don't even take photos with my phone, dude. I really don't be thinking like, oh, I need to take a photo with my phone. So then I don't, and then
it's hard to like remember to take pictures and stuff. I know. I was like, before I used to take a lot more pictures, but then it's hard to like. Sometimes you get like too caught up in taking the photo pictures, and then like sometimes you're like, okay, we'll take one at the end, and then you forget.
Yeah,
but it's nice to like have them.
That's true.
Yeah,
they do say though, taking a photo of a memory you want to remember is the hardest way to remember the memory.
Yeah,
because then you're so focused on taking the photo that's like kind of the memory, but you don't remember the moment that you were having in that moment. And I think that's where the balance is hard for me, because I've always been so like, as a young kid when I first got a phone, it was like pictures everywhere.
Yeah.
But then I like got to a point where I was like, am I so involved with my phone and taking photos? Am I not in the present?
Yeah.
And so then I think I kind of corrected, and now I don't take like any photos because I'm like afraid I won't feel the moment.
Okay. So interesting. So my thought with pictures is that like when you take a picture, that picture is the moment, and that's how, like, because when I see a picture I remember that exact moment. I remember what was going on.
When you look at it.
So in my mind, which the way I think, which what I have heard before is like when you take a picture, then your brain doesn't remember it unless you hold the picture because the picture's in the memory.
But then memory is only a memory of a memory. So every time you could literally, and I think I think that you can totally validly feel whatever you were feeling while looking at a photo, but I guess I get afraid that I'm not remembering correctly.
Interesting. I never think that. I don't know. Every time I see a picture, I just know what I was doing, what's going on, how I'm feeling. Even like sometimes in a picture, I could like, I'm like, oh, dude, I was so happy, or I was so like sad, or I was having an off day. Like I remember everything down to a T. But maybe that's like specific to how you think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I do feel like Google Photos will like bring up a memory or whatever, and it'll be like, look at this date or whatever. Or, you did this a year ago or whatever. Yeah. And I'll look at them, and it's, oh my God, especially puppy photos of my dogs. When I see puppy photos of them, it is like I am right back there, and it's like, oh, I can imagine how she smelled, like she's just a baby, like stuff like that. So I totally get that. I don't know, maybe it's just because I don't take a lot of photos.
I was say also grateful for photos and stuff. Memorabilia. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yes. What are you grateful for?
I am grateful for the sun, the nourishment of the earth through water. I am grateful for music. As you know, I went to a goth night recently. Yes. I don't really listen to a lot of goth music. The only times I really have, I guess there's a couple songs I know, but
what's considered goth music? Is it just like
there's different subgenres, so it's hard to explain because there's like electric goth, there's like slower, is it just like emo goth?
I wish I didn't love myself so much. I'm just kidding.
No, but there are.
Is it like pretty like sad music? I don't know. I haven't been to goth.
It can vary. There are like kind of like upbeat sad music, and then there's like slower sensual music. I feel like sometimes goth music is very romantic.
I would say is goth night like vampire night?
That's so funny. Actually, I feel like goth night, there's so many different types of people there, surprisingly. There's like full on goths. Like you can see a full on goth, white face paint with the black lining and stuff, and looks fucking sick. You got like fashion show basically. Everyone's wearing the coolest outfits. Yes. And then there's like dudes in khaki shorts and like a polo. Yeah. It's like, okay, you wouldn't expect that at a goth night,
but trying to pick up a goth girlfriend.
But you know, so I'm grateful for music though, because not only does it bring a lot of people together, no matter the type of music, but the way that I personally feel when music is playing and I'm vibing and I'm dancing is so freeing. Mm-hmm. I love dancing, dude. It's so much fun. I'm not a professional dancer either.
Should we dance battle right now?
No, You Got Served was the movie of my childhood.
Dude, me and my brother know the moves.
Exactly. I'm spinning on my head. No,
literally.
So like, I don't know. I've always had like a lot of fun dancing, even though I never did it professionally or anything. It's always been a fun just outlet, you know, because I draw and stuff, but there's nothing like dancing freely in like your own room and like nobody else around you, just like vibing to the music you love and just like letting it out. So I'm very grateful for music and what that provides for me and everybody else. And I think I'm definitely grateful for nature. There's like birds all around me now. Maybe I mean there's birds all around you all the time.
Like we're outside as much.
Yeah. And so now I get to like literally hear birds from like the moment I wake up to like the time I go to bed. There's like a raven. I think it's a raven.
Yeah.
It's like hanging out in a tree nearby, and he just be up there, and me and my dogs would just look at him.
Nice.
You know?
No, yeah. Last night I heard a little owl. Oh. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I knew where you were.
That's so funny. I've been thinking I hear an owl, but my partner was saying it's a mourning dove. And so I was like, oh, because I guess they kind of sound similar. I don't know. And so I was like, oh, well, I was hoping it was an owl.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that I don't love mourning doves. I love all birds. I love pigeons, dude. We were at Home Depot today, and there was 2 little pigeons in the aisle walking together outside. I was like, they're buying plants together. They're so cute. They're just adorable.
They're like, that one looks yummy.
Yeah, they're like, we can build a nest in that, I think. But yeah, so those are the things I am grateful for. I mean, I'm grateful for a lot of things on the daily, like you are, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Just like everybody else. That it's even though you like don't think about
our
it.
gratitude corner just to highlight, like, whatever was prevalent this week.
Yeah. And so, I'm definitely...
give you guys some reflection.
Yeah. And you know, so hopefully you guys can look back too and think, oh yeah, I haven't thought about how grateful I am about the sun. Like, the sun really do be nourishing me. You know?
Yeah, grateful for this clean air.
Yeah.
Especially where we are.
Especially, I was going to say, because around this time, fire season starts and people are housing and everything else is on fire. So I'm also very grateful for the fact that, like, we live in a low danger area, I feel like, for natural disasters, thankfully. And like, and when it does burn around us, like other places and stuff, we do get that smoke. We do get that horrible fucking air. You can't even go outside. It hurts so bad. And so, like, grateful that hasn't been the case. And I'm sure there has been fires and stuff, and that's really sad. But I guess I am just grateful for the air. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I was going to say, it was nice last year that there wasn't as many fires as there usually is.
But I do remember the day our sky was red.
Yeah.
Because of the smoke.
It was just like, was that the only like main fire we had last year?
Last year, I think.
Yeah, which was nice to.
It kind of carried on for a few weeks, the smoke. Yeah. I do remember that, but it was the worst one, I think.
Yeah, because what was it? Was it the year before that? It was terrible, and there's like nonstop fires.
Yes, and it was like every day you had to be checking the air quality, because even if you didn't have asthma or anything like that, it hurt to breathe, dude. Yeah. It was fucked up.
I know, everyone was like trying to buy air purifiers, and there was none.
Yeah, none. Yeah. I know, I gotta get, that reminded me, I gotta get filters for mine.
Dude, okay, so I bought this one called OK Sue that was like really cool, has great benefits, but then like they shut down, so I can't get any replacements, so I just have to buy a whole new one after this one runs out.
Which, okay, that actually just triggered a question I had for you.
Yeah.
Because I heard it on a different podcast. It's called Trash Tuesday, it has some comedians on it, but she asked, how do you feel about gatekeeping? So gatekeeping a restaurant or gatekeeping an air purifier or because she was saying, I love it. She's like, I love gatekeeping because she's like, I love it and I want more of it for myself, that kind of thing. Yeah. And she's like, she said, but she has seen it collapse companies. Like, not that because she's not sharing it, but because everyone who likes it isn't sharing it. Yeah. And so nobody buys it and then they go under and you can't get it anymore.
Yeah. I don't like gatekeeping.
Anything at all you've never gatekeeped, or you try your hardest not to?
If I find anything great, I'm telling everyone they need to buy it. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
I just think that there's enough room in the universe for everyone to have success, and like I'm going to recommend to you a great spot to eat, the best table, or this cool chair I found, or this laptop that works great for this, and this phone that I like for this, and this. Like, sometimes people are like, oh, you are such a brand consumer. And I'm like, it's not. I'm like, the reasons I'm getting this is like not to be cool, not to whatever. I'm like, I use it because it helps me do this, and this, and it works with this, and this. And like, that's why I don't really know why people have the debates like Apple versus Android, Xbox versus PS5, like whatever.
Different needs, different meats.
I'm like, literally at the end of the day, it's like what you like, it's preference, and no one should care if you have it or not.
Preach.
If I have money, I have one of everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, because everything has its own things, and depending on your needs, you want other stuff. And like, I'll share the best of everything I have and want to help you get, reach your goals. Like, oh, you want this? Like, try this. You want this? Do this. Like, I guess I've heard like gatekeeping, like abandoned areas is something that people do,
like local things,
like not local things, like, or like an old building that's like abandoned. You know how people like record videos,
well,
and
sure,
they go
because
whatever,
then
and
more
then they
people
get
go there.
trash or whatever, which I get that, but like stuff that can help everyone else out, I was like, I don't understand. Like, go ahead, share it. Like, like they're not gonna run out because of you. And if it is local and like, people
why
like,
wouldn't you want to support them?
They're out of stock, and now I'm like, yeah, okay, that's good. Just wait and be patient, and then you can get more. I'm like, that's what you want. You want to sell out your friends. You want to like
support the things you like.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm 100% on the same page.
So I personally don't like gatekeeping, and like if I find something great, I'm like, here, try this. I loved it. And you know what? Everyone has their own opinion. They may not like or love what you recommended. Yeah, which is fine. And like, as long as you're vibing. And then, a lot of the times I'll recommend stuff and people are like, wow. And then also, I'm a very big advocate of saying when things are not good.
Oh my God, I was literally about to say, I feel like not that I'm gatekeeping, but I sometimes will like get a thing and I like it, but I'm not even thinking about, like, it's not so amazing that I'm like, oh, I gotta share this with everybody.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, oh, this is a good item, whatever. But if it's a fucking bad item, I'm like, on my Facebook, I'm on my Twitter, I'm leaving a review. I'm like, dude, fuck this product.
Yeah,
you saw my post.
I did.
Yeah. So don't get there. For people that don't know, there's like these wall adhesives for your bathroom. Yeah, maybe we can post it. So you don't buy it. Do not buy. If you're a renter anyway, because I had it in my old apartment that I moved out of, and I was cleaning up, and I tried to get it off the fucking wall.
Yes.
And it will not come off the wall. I tried Goo Gone. I let it sit. I tried to scrape it off. It wouldn't come off. It's so stuck on there that I just had to tell everybody, like, yeah, it's cheap. It works. It does stick to the wall while you need it, but it will not come off. So if you're a renter, it's just not worth the hassle. So I feel like I was going to say, I'm more likely to go off about something or say something I don't like, unless it's a movie, because you already know, like, I see a movie I like, I'm telling everybody 1,000 billion times to go watch it, because I am a huge believer in supporting the things you like or that you love, because like if I loved it so much that it's fucking bursting out of me, I have to share that with people, because I want them to also go see the movie, help its box office, whatever, so that it doesn't just fucking flunk and they never make something like that again or whatever, because clearly it was a good movie.
Yeah, you're like, the creative genius is not gonna know.
Yeah, exactly. And we need to applaud some of those things sometimes. Little restaurants, especially local restaurants, doesn't make sense to gatekeep, because like we were saying, you want to support those things. And like she said, sometimes when you don't do that, when you're not sharing it with your friends and family and stuff, they don't get enough business. And then they go under and you'll never see it again. Yeah. And that's because you weren't sharing it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yes. I was going to say, when I was saying, I remember I was at a festival and we were going to get some food to eat. And then we went and got this food and it was so gross. Ugh. And then I was telling everyone, like, hey, don't get this. It's not good. And then the first person I go to tell is like, oh, yeah, it's disgusting. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? And they're like, oh, I didn't think about it. I was like, well, next time you eat something bad, you tell me. Yeah. So I don't waste my money or time. Yeah. And they're like, oh, that's smart. I'm like, yes, that is smart.
Also, maybe there's a small sliver that they had a bad experience. Yeah. But they should still
Which I always say, hey, I tried this and, I didn't like it. Yeah. You should try it out. or I'll be like, hey, I tried this and like
do not recommend.
This certain group didn't like it. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
But you know,
if
like,
you want to, if you really
you give
want
them a
to.
warning. That way they're not going in blind.
Yeah, they have some type of expectation.
Yes, yeah.
Not disappointed. Definitely. Yeah. Have you been listening? Have you been able to listen to any pods lately?
Sort of. I listened to a few. I'm like backed up because I didn't hear so many for like those 2-3 weeks. So I'm catching up. I listened to so Morgan from Two Hot Takes helped her brother and sister-in-law start a podcast called Midwest Married. And I am forgetting their names. But they have a few episodes out, and they do Reddit stories based on like a subject, like marriage related, or like couple things, or like just like certain topics with kids, or
they
like
do relationship
health.
advice.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Because they've been together for a long time. They kind of go on their backstory a little bit, and then they do like. They read like an interesting story the other day, which I told you about. That was about, oh no, sorry. That's her dad's podcast. Okay. But where they write in, listeners write into that one. That one's called Father Knows Something.
That one was really sad.
And trigger warning abuse.
Yeah.
And so maybe skip forward like a minute or two if you don't want to hear that. But... Yeah. So apparently this girl writes in, she's basically probably in her early 20s, around there, writes in and talks about how one day she's eating at her table, eating breakfast, eating her cereal, and that her dad walks into the kitchen, and like out of nowhere he basically smashes her head into the table, into her cereal, like into the glass, and like does it over repeatedly. I
can't imagine the noise.
Yeah, and like she's shocked. She goes into, you know, like a distress mode, doesn't know what's going on, just starts crying, faints from like
probably everything. Yeah, her head being shaken.
And like kind of just goes in and out, remembers like her mom rushing in, yelling at her dad, and then just wakes up in her bed the next day, ends up going to the doctor, ends up needing like a bunch of whatever, has like
probably concussed,
several fractures, whatever,
face.
In her face. And basically what happened was that she grew up with the cousin, and this is prefaced before that happens, but she grew up with a cousin that her mom wasn't the best, so she was mostly at her house growing up. And they were like twins. They were around the same age. Everyone said they always looked the same, had the same hair, had the same body type. Like everyone always confused them for twins. And apparently someone sent this girl's father a video of some girl that obviously looks like his daughter having sex with several men. And he just automatically assumed it was his daughter. And that was his reaction to
almost kill his kid.
Yes. So, and that was around, you know, her graduation time. She wasn't able to attend her graduation because of her face being so messed up. And apparently, like, the dad had tried to talk to her and, like, was like, you know, I'll talk to you when my face is fixed. And the doctor said it was, like, at least 9 months. And she just kind of wrote in to ask, like, hey, well, so I guess she's a little bit younger. I just don't remember when that write-in was from, but around that time. But yeah, and she just kind of wrote in and asked, like, hey, like, you know, here's what happened. What should I do? What's, you know, and then the whole premise of the podcast is that Morgan's dad will give advice as your dad.
As a father.
You know? Yeah. So.
Which is so sad. Do you remember what he said?
I cannot recall right now because I was, as I said, catching up. Yeah. I binged like 2 or 3 back to back. So like my
blended.
Yeah, super blended. But very cool podcast. You guys should check it out. Crazy story. How do you feel about that?
That's so fucking sad. When you first sent me the voice memo of you telling me how it went, like what the story was.
Yeah.
I remember my mouth just being open. Like, and being almost in shock. Like, it's that level of violence has never happened to me.
Yeah, me either.
But I have faced violence, like, growing up and stuff, and, like, I don't know, I still couldn't, I'm about to cry, but I still couldn't imagine
something so terrible.
Yeah, why? How could you do that to your own kid?
Yeah, and like...
Regardless, even if it was her being fucked by 20 men, if it was a fucking train on her.
Yeah, like, she's almost an adult, and like, just, what is that?
There's a conversation that needs to be had, maybe. Yeah. Not fucking beating the shit out of her to near death. Like, she was passing out probably from all her fucking brain trauma, being back and forth, shaking in her fucking head. The cracks in her face, like, fractures in your face, bro.
Is insane.
She could have fucked up her eyes. She could have, like, lost
That's
shit.
why she could have, like, died, right? If, like, it would have punctured her eye, like, far.
If any of the bones, would have broke off when pushed in, she could have been dead. And he didn't care. His first thought was, I need to punish her.
Yeah.
For something he didn't even 100% know was true or not.
Yeah, and, like, she does mention, she's like, I don't know why he just wouldn't ask me. Yeah.
And that's just so fucking crazy to me. I don't know. I think that's what I think shook me about the story so much is, like, it's not even a stranger. It's not her boyfriend. Yeah. It's her fucking dad.
Yeah.
Who treated her like that. That's crazy. That's animalistic for sure.
Yeah.
That's so sad. And so I hope the girl, you know, I'm sure she'll go to therapy and stuff. And like, but like,
I remember a little bit of the advice back. It was like, find a lawyer, sue your dad, and get compensation for all the therapy you're gonna need to go to, you know, repair this issue.
And that's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
That's hard for people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your family still.
Yeah.
So it's like, are you going to be the one who's going to be like, well, I'm taking you for what you got? Like, who knows what they're finding? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that is, I get the advice that does seem like a hard thing to take.
Yeah.
Also, why is it always the victims going to therapy? I get it. They need to work through it. But the fucking assaulters, they never go to therapy.
Yeah,
they just fucking stay fucked up and, like, violent. It's like, that's in itself is mind-blowing to think about, too. Like, people who are victims they always, like, try to fix themselves. They try to figure out what they could do to be a better person and how they can work through the trauma that they have. And then the people who cause the trauma, they never feel the need to do it.
Yeah.
It's so fucking lame. It's so lame. Sad story for sure.
Yeah.
Damn. I have a friend, acquaintance, kind of, whose father was, like, I don't know if I should be, I mean, I'm not going to say her name, but it just felt like she's told me before, like, that her dad was pretty physically abusive. Like, that was his way of punishing. And he hit her so hard before that she had seized. She's, like, had seizures on the floor, and he just watched her. Didn't take her to the hospital or anything. Just, she seized. And it's like, that is, it just, I know, there's literally nothing you can do. You literally can't choose who your family is. They only choose to continue to have you. And then when they do, just to be abusive, it is the most confusing thing in the entire world. Why bring a life into the world that you just want to destroy?
Yeah.
Makes zero sense.
Exactly.
Makes zero sense. So sad. So, wow. Get help if anything has ever happened to you, even if it's not to this level. Just know that you're, like, not alone, and you should go to therapy.
And there's a lot of resources.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, there's a lot of resources. There's a lot of help out there for you, and even your friends and family can be a support.
Yeah, sometimes just even, like, telling a friend, and, like, sometimes, like, they can do most of the work if you don't know what to do.
100%. I remember there was this, like, thing. I'm not going to talk about it because it's very personal, but I remember this thing happened to me. And it was one of those things that I literally never told anybody. It was like, it was so, because my brain had pushed it so far back that I just never thought about it. And then I forgot, I was talking to two of my friends. We were sitting in a car, we were just, like, vibing, bro. And I don't know who said something. Somebody said something, and it literally triggered the thought.
Yeah.
And I was right there. And I was like, holy fuck. I was like, guys, I need to say something. Like, this thing happened to me. And I was like, and I've never told anybody.
Yeah, you're like, I just kind of fucking pushed it aside.
Yeah, I was like, I never told anybody. And, like, it did feel really good to finally tell somebody.
Yeah.
Who, you know, because especially when it's family members or something, it feels unreal.
Yeah.
It's hard to admit, like, your family wasn't there for you, or your family's the perpetrator.
Yeah.
You know, that's fucking hard to admit. So there's support out there, and if you're my friend and you're listening, and that's ever happened to you, know that I'm here for you too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry. I hate crying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm here for you, you know.
Yes.
But okay.
Yeah. Don't worry about crying. Recently, someone around me was having an emotional day and, like, were crying, and they were apologizing to me and, like, the people around, like, saying, like, oh, sorry, I, like, cried around you. I don't want you to think I'm weak. And I let them know that there's nothing wrong with crying, and, like, no one will ever think less of you. I know crying around people is a vulnerable thing, and I hate crying around people, but I cry all the time, you know? And, like, it really takes a lot out of a person to, like, be able to, like, get down to just, like, sobbing in front of someone. And, like, I get it. It's scary. It's uncomfortable. You feel embarrassed. You don't want people to see you.
So exposed.
I know. There's something about crying that feels so private, and it shouldn't be. Like,
100%.
Yeah. You know, there's only, like, a few people I've ever, like, cried to. You know, you don't want anyone to see you cry, but just know we do not care.
Yeah.
We want to see you cry. We want to be here for you. We want to be a shoulder for you and a safe space. Like, life's hard. We get it. Go ahead and cry. I cry several times. Like, I don't know. My tear ducts get emptied out so much, dude. Like, you know.
And I've mentioned on the podcast too, like, I cry over everything.
Yeah.
But it's different. It's so different when you're crying in front of people over something sensitive, right?
Yeah.
And that's so crazy, because I have heard that too, like, I don't want you to think I'm weak. And it's like, there is nothing weak about crying. If anything, it takes more strength to cry in front of people that you're not, like, you know, like, that's hard as fuck. That's why I was just like, I stopped, like, sucking the tears back
like,
into my eye.
Like, no, crying doesn't make you weak, and, like, you're allowed to cry if you're a guy or a girl or they
non-binary,
or them. Like,
you are, and you, like, we as your friends. And
family, loved
family,
ones,
confidants, whatever, like, even acquaintances, honestly.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to feel what you're feeling fully. I don't want you to have to cut that off.
Yeah.
If you're so fucking sad, you need to cry.
Yeah.
Cry, because you're not going to feel better until you start crying.
Yeah, because then you do that thing where you, like, cry a little bit, and then, like,
Stop.
later in the day you have to cry a little more. And then,
it's
like,
in parts.
you, like, cry, like, 7 times a day, and you're like, God, I should just cried that one time.
Yeah, you got it out. Yeah. Feel your feelings. That's, like, the number one thing they tell you, too. It's like, no matter what it is, feel your feelings.
And I think maybe there's, like, obviously there's shame around crying, and then I feel like also there's, like, shame around, like, I don't know, because some people are awkward and they don't know how to deal with crying, because I know I have a lot of people that have told me, like, yeah, just don't cry around me, I don't know what to do, I feel uncomfortable when you cry, and, like, that's a weird way to think anyways, or a weird reaction to have to someone
being emotional. Yeah
And I'm like, I don't know what that is.
I think it's, you know what my first thought went to is, like, kids or people who grow up being told, like, to cry in their room, or, like, cry somewhere else, or I'll give you a reason to cry, like, it's not good enough to cry, so you need a reason to be, like, hit to cry or something. Like, if you're crying over something sensitive or, like, emotional, then it's not valid or something. And so I feel like it stems from that or something.
I wonder if there's any, like, research on it.
Oh, I'm sure we'll have to look or something.
But go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I was gonna say that I feel like, for the people who are like, it's weird for me when you cry, it's probably because nobody was ever there for them when they needed to cry. So they just feel like that's not a normal aspect. So they really don't, because they've never had anybody respond to their stuff, which is, like, sad in itself. And you're right. I do think it's a weird thought process to have over somebody else who's having emotions. But there are also, I don't want to discount neurodivergency, you know? So there's some people who just literally react differently to everything. And that's fine. I just, so, I don't know. But
I'm like, if someone's crying around you and you're uncomfortable, just, at least pat him on the back. Just
Yeah. So, well, I mean, you don't have to even be verbal that you're uncomfortable.
Don't say anything.
Yeah.
Don't make them feel bad.
I was just gonna say, like, it is, even if it is uncomfortable, like, I mean,
you could just sit there and be quiet. There's
there's no expectation.
Sometimes just you're present, being there for someone, and like there has to be no words. Sometimes you just need to cry by someone, and like that's enough.
Yeah, and yeah, if you're like, this is weird for me, then you're making it about yourself, which
that person feels like embarrassed to cry
or something. Yeah. And I think that like our everybody's goal in life and when interacting with other people should just be to make the world better, right? It should be, even if it's not doing huge things, but like allowing someone to cry in a room near you. Like that's a lot. That's like you are doing a service, and like you are making the world a better place one person at a time. Every interaction you have is a chance to do that. Whether you go in there being a piece of shit and being an asshole and like, this is fucking weird, you're weird. Like, that's going to change the world a little bit.
Yeah.
So you should always meet people with empathy.
Empathy. Yeah. You never know what anyone's going through ever.
And that's why, and it is a hard fucking thing and rule to follow, but like things aren't personal.
Yeah.
It's really not about you.
Yeah. We are like we're not even sidekicks in their story. We're not even like background characters. We're like those people that scene in the movie where there's just like random people like crossing the street all the way in the background. Yeah. Like, we're just there.
We're the background characters. Yeah.
We don't even get royalties.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, you're lucky you're walking in the background. No, like,
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Be empathetic to people. You never know what anybody's going through. Or what they have been through.
Yeah. Be kind.
Always. As much as you can, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, granted, you're going to go through things, too.
Yeah.
You're going to have bad days. Mm-hmm. Give yourself leniency when you have bad days, too.
Yeah.
The way that you should give leniency to other people when they have bad days. Have you watched anything recently?
Watch Ricky Stenicki again.
Oh, nice. That movie was really funny.
Dude, I thought so too.
It was hilarious.
I thought so too. I love it. I don't know.
The comedy was really
so good.
It's clever. It's a clever movie. And John Cena, he really held the movie up, bro.
Yeah.
He's good. He was really good. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't think I've really watched anything new. I was trying to think. But yeah, no. Oh, I just saw like the last episode of Seeking Sister Wife.
Oh, gross.
I was like, freaking that main couple, Garrick and Danielle, the ones that you hate.
I hate them so much.
So the new girl they got in Brazil, she, I guess, basically was like happy with them, but she said, hey, I don't want you, to Garrick specifically, I don't want you dating other people until I moved into the house and then we could start seeking again. She made him delete the apps and like he deleted everything, and then that was hard for his wife because she's like, it's funny
she's
how
controlling.
No. She's like, it's funny that she just says it and he deletes it, but anytime I bring it up, it's like never happens. But yeah,
she was crying, huh? When she said
she
it?
just like made like the comment, and I was like, yeah, that is annoying.
that is annoying, yeah, because you don't feel like you take precedent.
Yeah, and then I guess she finds out that like he's dating someone else. After he said that
deleted him, but then he didn't.
He like still dated someone else and told her that he wouldn't. So then she's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm ending this relationship. She sends like a video clip in to the show and is like, hey, and of course, speaking in Portuguese, says like, hey, this is what happened. This is what happened. This was what said. He didn't respect this. So yeah,
so it's over.
Leaving this.
Good for her.
And then, like at the end, it does a little recap of like where they're at now. And so his wife got pregnant.
They have 4 boys already, no?
Yeah, I can't remember.
They're like
I think they have 2 boys. I think they have 2 boys, and this was a girl.
Okay, I thought they had 4. I don't know. We're living in an RV or something.
No, that's a different family.
Okay, maybe I'm mixing them up. Okay, never mind.
And but yeah, so she had the baby, and then I guess at the end it shows him with a beautiful girl who's also from Brazil. So
of course!
And he's like, and then it ends, of course he, whatever, and proposed. because he's always proposing.
Because he's not married to his wife anymore for after the first one.
Yeah, well, right away, because he whatever next wife he wants to bring in, he wants to like marry them right away.
Yeah, so he can come.
Yeah.
Get a green card.
Yes.
And live with them.
Yes.
And that's the thing that irks me. There's so many things that irk me about this couple.
Yes.
But him, all of them, it's called 90 Day Fiance for that reason, right? They're typically overseas and they're coming to America and they need to be married for at least 90 days in order to keep and receive their green card, right?
Okay.
So that's typically why it's called that. That's typically the people that they find. And like that's a TLC thing, right? They love that story. They love making it seem like these people are only searching for a green card or trying to get over it and stuff like that. He bothers me because that's all he wants to do is take these people from other countries and rip them from their family. Like literally, do not talk to your son, do not talk to your mother. Like come this way, marry me, and stay here. Like the first girl, he didn't even want her to go back at some point and like see her kid that she has, and it was like. He just has this weird, I don't know what it is. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a neuroscientist. But he definitely seems like he has some narcissist tendencies where he just feels like everything is owed to him. Specifically, women are owed to him that are from, like other countries, and that his wife just has to be okay with it.
Oh, yeah. And then he always says, like, God speaks
It's because of God. Yeah, he uses the guise of God. Like, God told me it's time to look for another wife.
Yeah.
God told me this isn't working out. God told me you're going to sleep in the other room when the other wife gets here so she can sleep with me. God told me I should sleep with her the first day I meet her and leave you alone in the hotel room to my ex-wife. Like, God told me we should get a divorce so I can marry these people. Like, it's so annoying. And then it's just sad because, I don't know, I feel bad for her and then I don't feel bad for her because it seems like she's definitely part of this and she's definitely making a check. But she's always crying about how hurt she is.
She just says she just wants a good sister.
Yeah, I think she doesn't want one. She always seems like she doesn't really want one and she's just doing it for him.
Yeah.
Which...
and she might be. No.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say.
Oh.
Go ahead. Go.
No, you.
You go and then
Okay. I was just going to say, I hope that she knows that, like, there's dudes out there that will just be with her and don't need another wife. Which either way is fine. Yeah. But, like, I don't know if she knows or realizes, like, oh, hey, someone wants to be with you and just you. Like,
and I don't want to put anything, like, in her mouth or say she's, anything. But, like, they are religious, clearly. Yeah, they use God as a thing, like who's telling them to do this or whatever. Yeah. Whatever. So I'm assuming that she's not going to get out of this marriage regardless because she's
like,
married.
Too brainwashed.
That's my husband.
From, like,
God says I have to respect what he does. Yeah. And so like I feel like that's where it's at. And so that's why I feel bad for her in that aspect. But it just reminded me that like I feel like I've been talking to a lot of women and like girls, like younger women,
Yes.
Not 10-year-olds, but like, 18.
Well, you said women, yes.
Yeah, 18 and older or whatever. Yeah. And like, I've noticed this like trend and like, I don't know, I don't know if you have any girlfriends that are single or recently in a relationship or anything, but it does seem like I don't know. There's like this common trait where they're like, whatever their partners are into, they're into it. They can't do anything outside their partner.
Okay, and is this specifically like younger?
No, it starts when they're younger. So you can talk to an older person and like ask about past stuff. And if they're like in those relationships still that they were when they were younger and it carries on to their adulthood, then they still have that. But if they have been through like divorces or breakups and stuff throughout there and they were able to develop their own thing in between those things, give them time to do that, then I find a different answer. But it seems like, most of them are younger or have developed this from being younger and nobody telling them they're allowed to have their own thing.
I was going to say, I guess, this kind of relates to that TikTok trend we were talking about last week.
Oh, the crush one.
The crush one is like, how far will someone go to make someone like them? How much of yourself are you willing to mask or mold
change or
into whatever for the perfect guy, the perfect girl? If I just listen to the same music, if I just do this, if I just do that, and then they'll think I'm perfect, then they'll whatever. So, and I think that's a lot of just, mentality.
Immaturity.
I don't necessarily know. I mean, yes, immaturity, but also I definitely know older people that are like
That's
this.
what I'm saying. I think it stems, though, when we're first getting into, like, dating and stuff, or even noticing other people, wanting them to notice us. I think that is where it starts. And then if nobody ever corrects it, or they don't have time in between relationships or whatever to find out who they are, what they're interested in, then it does become everything that their partners are.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. We take pieces of people we're with and friends with all the time and to develop ourselves.
Yes.
That's normal. But I think I'm thinking like I don't know, like big things. It seems like girls are willing. I don't want to say girls, because I also in the TikTok thing we're talking about, there's men.
Yes, yeah,
there's men doing it. But I do think like it's more likely for girls, because girls are kind of. And I think it's changing now, but I think that we were kind of all raised on this like idea that like almost like you're not allowed to have an identity without somebody else.
Yeah.
Like especially old. Okay, so let's back up even past ourselves. Like our parents, like my mom, she did have me young, but like they're telling you like growing up, like you're going to have a kid or whatever, that's going to be your whole world. You have a husband and he's going to be your whole world. They don't ever say like you're your whole world. You should focus on yourself. Like that wasn't like just taught, like unless you had a very like advanced like thought about like parent to tell you like, hey, you're the most important thing you're going to have in your life. Like you need to be able to rely on yourself too and know what you like and what you're okay with and comfortable with. I guess I'm speaking also from experience. Like I got into relationships really young, and like serious relationships really young, and like feel like that definitely molded me in some way. Yeah, that wasn't me. That wasn't who I was. That was who my partner was. Yeah, and like I just picked it up because it was easier to do. Okay, and then I feel like I see that in younger girls too, where they're just like not told that like. Put yourself, like, figure your shit out, like, figure out who you are, and you can do that while being in a relationship. But because we're, like, I guess so, I don't know the words, like, I feel like there's so many words I'm missing, but it's, like, I feel like we're kind of maybe taught, and maybe you disagree, but, like, maybe we're taught, like your partners, you give up so much for them. Like, that's unconditional love or something. Like, love is changing who you are so that they are happy all the time. Or being not necessarily not who you are, but maybe you didn't react the way you would have wanted to. Or maybe you didn't do the thing you would have wanted to because how your partner would be or something. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm being confusing.
No, I understand, and I hope no one else is confused, but yeah, definitely. And I think that does have to do a lot with how you were raised, but like for me, my mom has always instilled in me like you're number one, you matter, like F anyone else, like, and even like my mom, for her, and this, I know this is a huge debate. I don't know if it ever came across like your social media when it was going around, but like for my mom, kids are first over any of her partners.
Yeah, once you have kids.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, like,
and they come before you.
There's the trend where it's like it was a question like you're making food,
who do you serve
first?
My mom
it was the kids or the husband.
That's the question, right?
Yeah. And I have this one coworker that I used to be really close with. We had a falling out. We're not friends anymore. But that friend, she always picked her wife before the kids.
Oh, yeah.
And even to the other scenario that was going around at the same time was like, if you're on a cliff and you have your wife or husband in your hand or your kid, who are you letting go of? She's always dropping the kid.
Really?
Because she said, this is the love of my life. I can make another kid.
Dude.
And that was her take. And like, you know, people are on that. Yeah. And some people are like, no, like my kid is my world. And that's.
And yeah. And not to interrupt you, I had a graphic design teacher when I was in high school. So this is high school. I'm a teenager with a fresh mind. I'm learning things. And I forget, I was having issues with my own parents. Yeah. And I think I confided in him and I said, I just don't get why my mom seems to choose my dad's side no matter what, every time. And he told me, because that's her partner. He was on her side. And I was like, but I'm her kid.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would always choose my kid.
Yeah.
Because we're vulnerable. We don't know any better. We're learning from your shit. And he was like, you got to understand. At the end of the day, when you move out, when you go find your own partner, when you have your own kids, she's only going to have her partner.
Yeah.
And so for her to not choose his side would be to say, like, in the future, whatever, like, she's not going to have his back or something like that.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
a crazy
that's a
way
crazy
to
thing. But he said it, and he fully believes that, 100%.
Yeah.
And he believes that you should always choose your partner before your kids. And it is really wild to think that there's so many people who do think that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to say there's anything wrong with that. I'm not going to say that. But I just think that if it was me, and I would like more parents to think about their children first.
Yeah. Well, and I think everything's case by case scenario.
Sure.
And I wish that everyone has the capacity to say, this problem's crazy. Like this, I definitely agree with my child, or sorry, like your dad's right in this situation. Like, to not automatically be like, oh, I always have to pick what my kid says, or I always have to pick what my husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever say.
I think, and I feel like we're going on a different subject at this point, but I feel like that is like choosing your partner every time is not thinking of your children as their own people.
Yeah.
It feels very much like their opinion, their thing, like, doesn't matter at all. If you're always going to be choosing your partner, no matter what, you are now, like, firmly instilling in your child that their opinion, their truth doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's going to grow up with them.
Yeah.
And that's going to cause things like we were talking about a little bit, where you're going to go with whatever everybody else says.
Yeah.
Because you think that's what you need to do. Because that's what we're told. Like, this is that you give everything up for your partner. I don't know. But you're right. I think despite how I was raised, I was the same as you. Because I remember being in middle school and being like, and this is so gross. And I have talked about this with, like, friends and stuff, but, like, kind of gross and, like, embarrassing to, like, talk about on the podcast. But it's, like, I remember being in middle school, and that's, like, when you're going through puberty, you stink. And, like, you get greasier and you, like, have acne and stuff.
Yeah,
and
you start to smell.
You're going through stuff.
Yeah.
There's hormones. So I remember, though, even at that time, like, my mom very much, I think she's probably, I don't know about now. I feel like she's kind of changed her opinion now, but at the time she definitely would have been a your partner comes first type person.
Yeah.
And, but that is different because she did serve kids first. But I feel like that's a different rule.
Yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. So at the time she would tell me, if you don't wash your hair every day and, like, smell good, nobody's gonna want to be your friend. Like, you're not gonna have, like, she was worried about my socializing, which I totally understand now, because you don't want your kid to be gross and stuff.
And, like, you don't want them to get made fun of.
You don't want them to be bullied on, right? But in my head, I was like, I'm who I am unapologetically, and you're gonna like me regardless. Greasy hair, ripping pants because I'm stepping on the back of them; they're too long.
Oh my god, yes!
Like, you're gonna fucking like me. No deodorant. Like, you're gonna like me for who I am. And then if I do choose to shower, you can have me then. Like, but if you can't handle me being gross, like, you really don't know. You don't want to get to know who I am. And I feel like, I don't know if that was like a thing I was doing intentionally, but it was definitely something I was vocal about. Where I was like, no. Because if they like me like this, then they'll like me.
Yeah.
But if you can't get past that, then you don't. And I think that's always kind of stuck with me. Not that I'm gross now, but, I just think that strongly.
No, and even if you, not you, but like you as a person, if you're out there listening, even if you are gross and, like,
greasy,
whatever, like, at the end of the day, like, most of that stuff boils down to, like, mental health at, like, whatever age you are, like, and sometimes, like, I think when you're younger, like, showering, you're like, you have more things to, like,
it seems,
that are important. You're like, a shower, really?
Yeah.
You're like, I gotta play my game for 40 hours.
I gotta call my friend at 9 o'clock.
But that's true. Like, at the end of the day, there is people who are gonna love you for who you are, regardless of if you're showered, if you brush your teeth, if you smell or not. And, like, at the end of the day, it'll boil down to, like, if it's really severe and, like, your friends are like, hey, like,
I'm worried about you a little bit.
Like, I'm worried about you, respectfully, like, do you
want to use my shower?
Do you want to use it? And, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, you don't know. Sometimes people don't have access to a shower. Sometimes people don't have a toothbrush. Sometimes people don't have running
New clothes,
water.
yeah.
You know, you hear stories of people talking about their life, and it was crazy. When I don't remember who I was talking to, but they were talking about how like their mom used to, when they would get home, they would go in their house. Was I talking to you about it?
Did you see this online where he said he had to go through? Go ahead.
No.
What were you saying?
No.
Go ahead.
About like, okay, every time that they got into the house, their mom's like, oh, dance party. And they would just stomp really, really loud and just like make a bunch of noise and jump. And then turn on the lights. And they would do that. And they learned when they were older to scare all the cockroaches away, so when the lights went on, the kids wouldn't see them.
Wow.
And like there's stuff like that, like people do live in houses with cockroaches, and like people don't
I did.
Yeah, like, you know, people don't, some people never see that, some people do. Some people work around it.
And that is crazy also as a kid, not to like jump off of here, but like as somebody who did have like a house when I was a kid, like that had roaches and shit, and that's literally it is traumatizing as a kid to know that your house is especially when you have friends who don't know what that's like. And you're like, oh,
and like,
what?
as a child, you don't know that people, that their house is not like that.
You think it's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. But I will say that my parents were pretty honest. Like, my mom was like, look, don't tell anybody we got roaches, because we got roaches and nobody.
They're like, no one needs to know.
Nobody needs to know. And I was like, okay. But I'm sure my parents won't like me talking about this story, but I remember 2 things I thought of. 3 things I just thought of. About the stink is, I remember being a little kid, and then maybe this is where it comes from too. I remember being a little kid, and there was 2 twins in my kindergarten class. I remember it was kindergarten. We sat next to each other because our names were close.
Yeah.
And they were twins, and they stunk so bad. They never brushed their teeth. They weren't taught to brush their teeth. They're little kids. You got to be taught that.
Yeah.
They never brushed their teeth. They always stunk. Their clothes were always dirty. And they were my best friends. I didn't realize they smelled. I literally never told them that.
Yeah.
Because to me, it literally didn't matter as a child. You don't think about those things. You just think, this is my friend.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hang out with them. That was like literally at the time I was having roaches. And I remember like the next year, 1st grade, I went to school and I put my backpack down and I saw a little roach run from my backpack out into the fucking classroom. I was so scared, Jess. I remember freezing. I remember sitting at my desk and like, holy fuck, they're gonna know. And I was so scared and so embarrassed. Yeah. And then somebody saw the roach and was like, oh my God, there's a cockroach, like, and freaking out. And the teacher was like, oh my God. And like, got it.
Freaked out.
Yeah, everyone freaked out. Everyone was like, oh my God, like, they never seen a roach before.
Yeah,
and I was like, fuck. I was like, no, don't know. And then they were like, where did it come from? And I was like, who knows? Like, who knows?
You're like, that's fucking weird.
That's so weird, right, guys?
Like, you're like, what even is that?
What is that?
Like, is that some weird fly?
Is that a butterfly? Like, no, but yeah, I remember the fear that like washed over me.
Like getting caught.
Yeah.
If you didn't want to be cockroach girl.
Exactly. And I knew that at 1st grade.
Yeah.
So at least my parents were honest. I guess. Like, maybe, I think that, I don't know if it would have been better or not. But also the other thing I thought of was that I had a friend in high school.
Yeah.
I'm walking home. I think we ditched. So I was like an hour early, so I couldn't go home right away. I was going to walk around. So he's like, you want to come over to my house first? We'll eat something and I'll take you home. And I was like, sure. Went to his house. And he's like just a friend of mine. So we walked all the way there. And we got inside. I met his dad. Met his like grandma that he lived with. He lived in this like upstairs apartment, but it was like kind of nice, I guess. But he was like, do you want a chicken sandwich? It was like a patty. He had to microwave it in the microwave. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good, you know? He takes the patty out of the freezer, Jess. He opens the microwave. I see a cockroach inside the microwave.
Oh, no.
It's in there. And I don't know if he doesn't see it or he just ignored it and hoped I didn't see it. But he puts the plate down and he puts the bun and the chicken sandwich in there and the other bun and he closes it and microwaves the food.
Okay.
And he pulled it out and he gave it to me to eat. And he made his own. And I ate it.
Okay.
I ate it because I was like, I don't want him to know I saw it. I literally felt so fucking bad. I don't know if it was because of the thought of like me being a kid
and
the
trauma,
embarrassment of like if somebody found out, like having to be like Yeah, because there's no as a kid, you have no control over that. That is just your living situation.
Even like I've talked to like people before who say like even as an adult, it's so hard to get rid of them. Like
it's so fucking hard. Yeah. I mean, that's why it's called an infestation, bro. Yeah. It's hard. That once you see one, it's too late. There's fucking many. Yeah, there's so many. So. And I felt bad, but all I knew is that I didn't want to sit down or anything because I didn't want to take him back to my house because I know what it's like to live with roaches. Mm-hmm. I just knew I didn't want him to feel embarrassed because he had roaches. Yeah. And I never mentioned it to him. I just ate the sandwich, hung out with him for a little bit, then I walked home. And I was like, that's it. And like, I don't know, because to me, it was never, I don't know if it's because I lived through it. I would like to think that even if I had never had roaches, I would have still tried to protect his feelings. Yeah. It's just so wild to me to think about that stuff. I mean, I don't know. Have you ever had any type of infestation?
No.
Yeah.
Luckily,
no. Had it all. I mean, like, I've had roaches and rats at the same time. That was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. We never had an infestation. We used to live off of, like, Butler. Mm-hmm. We had, like, a little mouse. Mm-hmm. But, like, it was just one. It wasn't like...
little guy coming in, like, yeah. It was at the same time, so it was like first kindergarten or whatever. But I remember, and this is kind of funny. And low-key, I love rats and I love mice. Oh yeah, me too. I fucking fuck with them heavy. I think they're so cool and smart. They're so cool, and I love when their tail wraps around your finger. They're the sweetest. Yes. Ugh. Anyways, I remember at the house, one of my uncles lived with us, and they had this like small little wall thing. Like it was like a small sliver in the wall that you could like put a bed in, and that's where he lived basically in the wall. And there was like walls in between it. And I remember I would hang out with him, and I would hear like scratches at the wall from the rats, and I would be like, "Oh, it's your rat friends." Like, as a little kid, I thought it was cool that we had rats. I don't know. I was like, "This is badass." Like you're living with the rats.
You're like Snow White.
Exactly. I was like, Willard. Yes, please. That's me. Don't mess with me. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's what. I would like to assume that I'm empathetic regardless, but I guess I am glad for the experiences that I had, even if they really were not good. They weren't good in the time, but like looking back and stuff. Well, actually looking back, I was having a blast. I didn't really care. Yeah. Personally, I didn't give a fuck until I went to school and then that roach was there. That's the only time I gave a fuck. And then I go home, as long as they stay there, I was like, cool, like,
you're
I'll
like,
play outside.
Don't come.
Don't come over. But yeah. And I don't know, it's just how it is. So shout out to all the good friends out there that don't make you feel embarrassed when they realize some stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if you've ever seen the clip of Snow the Product talking about, I think she's on live. No, I think it's on a podcast. Yeah, I think it's a podcast clip, but she's talking about how, like, you're my friend. If you got roaches, I got roaches. Like, we're figuring how to get rid of them. Yeah. Like, just sometimes you just got to be a good friend and help your friend out.
Yeah, because they're already, I mean, if they got roaches, if they got rats in adulthood, it's like, that's hard. That's fucking hard to deal with. So they need as much support as they can get.
Yes.
Be there and be a good friend.
Yes.
Regardless, roaches, rats, or anything even small in between. Just not bugs, just like in general.
Yeah.
Having a hard time in your day, be there. Because that's really all somebody needs sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which reminds me, we're going to go be there for one of our friends right now.
Yeah. Well, so.
Did you have anything else?
No. Well, I just want it's okay. I'll just say it really quick.
I was like, you can edit that.
Yeah. My coworker, she's this older lady. She's doing hair, and it's textured hair. And I was just watching to see how she was doing it. And we were talking about cats because I was showing them the free kittens. Oh yeah. And then she's like, "Oh, that one's so cute." And then I was like, "Oh yeah," and we're talking about like pets. And she's like, "Yeah, I had 3 white cats, this, and this." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, I have a black cat." And then she was like, "Oh no." And her client, and they were like, No, we don't do black cats. They're bad luck.
Bad luck, they're superstitious.
Yeah, they're like, and then she was telling me a story. She's like, "Yeah, the only time I was in a car accident was me and my sister were driving and a black cat crossed our path and then we crashed after that." And I was like, "That's crazy." And I was like, "I have a black cat."
Imagine blaming a cat for your bad driving. I'm just kidding. I get it. People are superstitious.
But yeah, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, I have a black cat." And then like she's like, "Nothing against them. They're just not for me."
Sure.
And then I showed them a picture of Milo.
And they got in a car accident.
Stop. The lady's hair burned off. No, just kidding.
I thought you were serious. I was like, oh my god.
No, she's like, oh, that's scary. He has a human face, and I was like,
what?
Look,
Oh,
I was like,
baby.
not my baby.
He's literally such a cute cat.
I'm like, sorry that my cats are more advanced than yours. Like, I don't know.
But
so yeah, I just wanted to share that quick story.
That's crazy, bro.
His little tail twitch. Oh, it's
just did it again. Well, how about this? How about if you're listening, please send us in your like superstitions. I want to know what other people are superstitious about.
What are you scared of?
Because I know I have a friend who's dead serious. If we're walking together, we do not split poles. Like she will like no. She'll run around the pole and like follow me.
I do that sometimes, but I feel like if it's like sometimes
inevitable,
not really inevitable, but if you don't have the thought when it happens, if you think it, then I'll like, you know.
Yeah, that's so funny because I'm not super superstitious, but
either.
I think that like seeing 11:11, I love making a wish, and I love being like,
me too,
wish.
too.
I like the good ones. I'm like 11:11 wish. I'm like I get a wish, and then it, like I had a friend who told me if you look at the clock at 11:12 after you make your wish, it doesn't come true, and I was like I don't believe that one.
I feel like that's not true.
No. If I make a wish, it's a wish. I was like I don't care if it turns to 12 while I'm making the wish. Like I still get my wish.
Yeah.
So I just believe what I want to believe.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah,
as everyone should.
Yeah. Let me know what your guys' let us know what your superstitions are because I'm very interested.
But okay, well, let's wrap up
next
the episode.
time. Then?
Yes. Have a good day, you guys.
Have a good night, evening.
Yes. Thanks for
Wait, how does it go? The Truman Show. If I don't see you, have a good evening, or good morning, good evening, and good night.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.